Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to Farmers Only Club and Misty Hills Agriculture here on one of the servers. So popped back in a little bit early, back from our family's travels and the year off at the farm, and just thought, well, maybe I'm gonna have to lime. So that I better look before it's suddenly planting day in May, and then I can't do it. Although I'd be in here in theory selling things, selling fabric and so forth in April next month. So do not need to lime. Am running low on water in my greenhouses. I have about 3,000 liters. So maybe that would last through today, but no real point in pushing my luck here. Oh, don't know why it didn't fill up. I had left it to fill, and obviously it wasn't doing that, so that's disappointing. So I'm going to go ahead and get these greenhouses topped up, and then we'll come back and chat briefly with something I've discovered. Alright, greenhouses are full. And we're back, just getting everything topped off, so we're ready for next time. So big news is if we take a look at our map and we head over to ownership, you can see a lot of fields are available. Lomeric has left the server. So this, I think, happened while I was out of town. Nothing that I've seen posted in any of the channels we communicate. I've just tossed him a note this morning just asking, has he just left Farmers Only Club? Is he on another server? Or is he done with Farming Simulator? I think I mentioned in my discussion in Farming last year that I've seen like a lot of the people that work on the server, when I'm on our Discord server that we share and chat amongst ourselves, just in general as a communication tool, that anytime they're doing a live screen share, they're in other games, usually like space games, or I think they've done things like Manor Lords, and then there was like Soul Mask or something was a new one that came out. So they seem to be enjoying those more, and I'm really never seeing a screen share of Farming Simulator. Now, someone like Guyver and so forth is still, I think, in here periodically. I'm trying to remember if he's the light purple or the dark purple. So, yeah, so he's actually the pink. Now I'm confused. So he's the pink, but if he's pink, why is it... There is no pink on the map, so... Yeah, I'm not sure, because like this is someone, but yeah, why they're showing up gray. So I'm not sure. I think Guyver is these. So I think he's working more things, but obviously I'd been targeting this because this is all I had, but these were the ones I really initially wanted. So I'm going to pivot at this point. This is a little bit larger. I don't know. This may actually provide more field. But I think it's just going to be simpler, and ultimately that's the big one. But you can see 1.8 million, and this one's almost 1.4, where this is a little closer to 1.3, so it's about 6 acre, well, I guess 3 acres larger or so. But if you remember when I was working, like, these were the fields that I would spend a ton of time in that Lomeric had, and, his farm was all here. So definitely surprised. I'd not heard anything. There wasn't really any discussion that I had been aware of saying, hey, I'm losing interest or whatever. And I had kind of broached the subject, like, hey, I see you're doing a bunch of other things, and they're like, yeah, we're just playing around in these things, trying this out. And I really think one of the space things is just where they've been spending most of their time, and I can understand that if you're finding some more interest. I'm frankly somewhat curious if the Farming Simulator 25 announcement had something to do with it. Because the timing, as I said, was very similar. Like, they came out with Farming Simulator 25. FOC has kind of indicated, here's the plan. But as expected, the plan is exactly what you'd expect. We're going to spin up servers. They're not going to have anything on them. You're just going to be able to play online in Farming Simulator 25. And it may literally be that, kind of lack of enthusiasm or just burnout of, I'm not starting over again. I mean, I remember when I got on here a year ago, there was a lot of discussion amongst the farmers here, just sharing with me the history of FOC and how painful it was when Farming Simulator 22 came out, just to get it going. And I think the community kind of really started in earnest, this Farmers Only Club. I don't know that they were on 19. And so, there wasn't a map. The map I'm on here, Hobo's Hollow, was created by someone in Farmers Only Club because there weren't maps that were large enough for so long that they finally gave up waiting. And they said, almost every server was Hobo's Hollow initially when they got going, because it was the only map that was playable in a multiplayer community, and that was 6 months or a year in. And so, again, we're looking at that same type of cycle. What I'm going to be curious about here, though, is how long people are going to stay on FS22 and how long they're going to support that. Because I don't know that I have any terrible interest in jumping to the FS25 servers in a stripped-down version. I would kind of do the same thing we did when I was in FSN, when we went from FS19 to FS22, where we sat for, I think, 9 months before we finally moved to an FS22 server. And it was, again, a group of folks that agreed, yeah, we're just happy doing what we're doing. We're just going to stick around because it's just unpleasant otherwise. So I'm frankly just curious if that was, once again, the straw that broke the camel's back, kind of reinforcing my point that I've made over and over, and that I do seem to be in the minority in the community on. I've talked and chatted in discords for the Farm Sim guy and stuff like that, and I seem to be kind of the lone voice of, hey, I don't want to do this or that. And so I've people know how I feel. There's no point in beating on things. They don't feel the same way, and we're just going to irritate each other if we press our points. I'm not going to convince anyone to not enjoy it if they're going to think they will. They're just more forgiving with their time. But that was why I decided to jump in early, was to share, kind of big news. I mean, he was one of the bigger landholders, if not the biggest landholder. And if I look at this, I'm trying to think. I don't know that he owned any of these. So I think this may be, because I think we still have Bright Life on here. We have Meister and Guyver and myself, I think, are the folks that are here. And, again, like Meister has grabbed this field up here. It's interesting, the color on this, but maybe it's because it's grass, because I know these two fields were grass for them. That's kind of what's going to change my direction. Obviously, we'll see when things get sold tomorrow what my balance is, and then I may exercise a land token and try to pick up 37, because I'm hoping I have enough, but I may not, because I think I only have 80,000 liters of fabric. So it's going to be tight. So I may still want to wait another year before I do anything. But if I can somehow swing it, you know, what I might do is try to buy the field and then try to run 3 fields next year and go from there. But I will see you in a bit. Alright, well, I'm in here. We're going to go ahead and see what we get here. Oh goodness, I don't think I have enough. I thought I had 80,000. Well, that is sad. I was all excited. I've already asked the question on the Discord, how do I find a realtor to use a land token? And it looks like it's not gonna happen. Although, I suppose I could take out a loan, but that seems kind of foolish. We'll see. Because, yeah, I'm only gonna get, like, I don't know. Because it is, like, usually 2,500, 2,600, so maybe I'll get a little higher than I thought, because I'm basically going to get 120,000, which is going to be, like, $20,000 short, but on 60,000 at another 600, that's going to get me, like, whatchamacallit, like $36,000 more, so maybe I'll have enough. We'll see. But basically, it has to be an adjacent parcel, so I have to go for the one next to me. Not that I'll have enough for the one further away anyway, but just kind of keeping people informed. My goodness, what is happening? This should not be that hard to pick up, but it is. But yeah, wanted to get in here in April so I could do this. And that should, well, I mean, it's not like it was an unknown. It will get me there. The real question here is, what am I, oh, I only have 5,000. So let me deactivate. Because I do think it saves us production dollars, because there's no point to be running around, you know, running a production facility that isn't producing anything. So to follow up from my question, or my information that I posted, or well, sorry, let me rephrase that. I didn't post it, that I shared with you here. We're not typing as I talk to you. I'm recording and you're listening to me. About the FM that had left the server and just, you know, wondering if it was something similar. It wasn't specifically. I mean, I kind of asked if they kind of were sick of Farming Simulator and were like, oh, I'm not going to go to 25. They haven't quite said that yet, but their reaction is a bit similar to mine, is that they've seen the trailer, they've looked at all this stuff, and there's nothing that made them excited about FS25. They're just like, yeah, this is a lot of stuff we probably maybe don't need, and why are we getting a new version? But yeah, basically with the process we have, they just decided to prestige, and, you know, but they were kind of like, hey, what server do you want to move to? And he's like, I don't want to do anything right now, I'll just wait, and he'll make a decision. And kind of what he shared was, you know, he might stay ambivalent, because it's exactly kind of what I have going on with other things. There's plenty of other things to occupy my time, and fighting through something that isn't enjoyable, therefore, doesn't rise up high on the list. Let me see where I'm taking this. Alright, so hobos. Campsite is a little bit more, so maybe we'll take it there. So if I remember correctly, campsite is over, yeah, it's over here. So yeah, we'll head up. But I'm in a really good spot for fabric, at least. I don't know that clothing will be bought at the same places. Would be wonderful if it was. But, you know, basically all the sell points are down here on this side of the map. But this would be the field that I'm looking to use my land token on. You know, and the nice thing is it's right next door. You know, the nice thing with these two, which is why I really was interested in them when Limerick had them, is they're perfect rectangles, if I remember correctly. I think both are. It's possible 39 is not, but I think it is. It might have some weird stuff down at the base. But anyway, let me get over here because the price is dropping. I definitely don't want to lose more money than I need to, but here's the campsite. And we will sell, and let's see where we end up. There we go. Crossing our fingers. If I see 1.4 million, I know I'm free and clear, because it was like 1.3 something. Good news is we just got past half when we rolled over into 1.3, I think. Ooh, we're gonna... Oh, we got real close. But I think I have enough. Again, it's gonna leave me very little, but if I gotta take out a little bit of a loan to buy supplies or repair equipment or something, you know, and I could wait to repair equipment until the following year, too. It's not like it gets worse. But, alright, so I got the big answer. I was like, how do I find a realtor? I want to use a land token. The good news is I'm glad I don't have to perhaps tell people, oh, sorry, I was just kidding. I don't have enough money. Because that would be sad, but... So what I need to do is I need to send them a screenshot that basically shows that the field is adjacent. So, you know, again, it's 36 and... Oh, I'm at the wrong field. This is the field I would be buying. I'm over here. I turned too early. But, you know, and the nice thing here, like, there's a lot of land down here, too, so, like, other stuff to put up. You know, that's the other benefit. I didn't realize that this field went so much further south than mine. Wow. So, cool stuff. But, so, you know, and in theory, like, that is something you could expand into. I mean, again, I'm not looking to go nuts. It's hard enough to find time, but going back to kind of, again, what the stoppage was and so forth, he had really gotten to the point, kind of like what the reality of Farming Simulator is. I mean, you're doing the same thing, and he wasn't really excited to come in and work on it, and he had kind of done everything he needed to do. You know, he was in the situation that at the end he had $95 million. So, you know, it's not like he had this target. He's like, you know, I think that's enough. Like, I didn't feel the need that I needed to show that I could make more money. And he was actually losing money because, like, productions were running, but he wasn't getting in and selling. And so, like, he had production costs, but then they were offsetting anything he sold. And it just, you know, stuff like that. Like, he just said he was losing money. He didn't get into details. So I'm speculating a little bit. But, so let me go ahead and double check here. So we're looking at 37. I have to buy it at the... Oh my goodness. It is right there. So yeah, I'm going to need a little bit of a loan. But I should be fine. Because I think I can take the loan and then transfer stuff over. So let me pop into the finances and we'll borrow, say, 10,000 just to get ourselves cleanly over the hump. But yeah, being that close, like it would be good if I could get that, and then maybe just start processing 3 fields and really start cranking out a little bit more. So I would love to be able to plant that in the spring. So let me get the screenshot I need. Alright, so it's 1,397,800. I don't know if they need the money in here or they do it some other way, so I'm not going to make any assumptions. But at this point, we've sold stuff. Again, we're a little short, but that's okay. But let me just check my supplies. So basically, we can see stuff here. We should be okay for diesel. C's, I think we're okay on. Where's fertilizer and stuff? Solid and liquid. Solid Fert we might be short on, but we'll see. Although, well, I think I only used like maybe 13,000. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And I think I have more liquid Fert in my tanker. So I think we're fine. If we're not, we just need a little bit. But I'm going to have to take a look. But basically, planting can begin tomorrow, so I may do that. Don't know if and when this person may respond. It looks like they were last posting things in the afternoon, so like, yeah, I don't know if they're in the US, if they're overseas. I don't know where this individual is. I do not know any of the realtors that I was able to find, so anyway, that is where I'm at, and that is what I am doing. And so hopefully we'll have 3 parcels of land, and then we'll be working our way to have 4, and then I think that may be it. I mean, I'll see, you know, maybe at 3 I'll decide I'm done. I'll have to see how the work goes and what it feels like, but I'm not entirely sure I want to deal with 34. You know, although it is close by and it is easy, but I just do not know. So if we look at that, you know, I mean, this is probably a bigger field, so I guess it's not entirely rectangular, but you know, and that's the thing. I mean, if you look at the size of this, I mean, that's a lot. So I think I'll be all right. But yeah, one of the other things, because if you look, I think, no, I guess he has oilseed radish on there. One of the other things that Lomeric had mentioned was just the fact that you can now grow everything. Like sugarcane used to exist on one server, and now because people kind of said, hey, I want to be able to grow it, they made changes and allowed it everywhere. But he said basically there's like no community involvement like you used to be able to reach out and sell crops to people. And so that has been part of the lack of interest that he's had as well, is nobody really buys anything. So he used to enjoy saying, hey, I'm growing this crop, and then he'd sell it to someone who needed it for a production. But at this point, like, everyone's kind of self-sufficient on their own productions because they can be, because whatever server they're on, they can grow anything they need. Where he felt it would be more interesting if certain servers or all servers could only grow a segment of the crops, and then you know, it would require community interaction to do almost anything. But that's kind of not the reality of what we live in. You know, so it's tempting on the one hand to say, you know, hey, you know, and like I could have saved a little bit, like, you know, I wouldn't have had to take any loan out there, but this one makes more sense. You know, this one's kind of odd shaped. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it later, but these were the ones I really wanted initially, you know, so that's the thing. Like, I can get this, and then I'm working the 3 fields, and then, you know, I've got to get 1.7 million. I'll certainly have another land token. We get awarded one at the start of every month, and you can have two. I have two, like I've never used one, because they started them in June. So I have my June, and actually I think I have two, and I got told I wasn't getting a token because I already had two. So, so yeah, maybe they started them in May. But either way, so that is where I'm at. You know, I may wait until I hear from the realtor because I don't know that I want to get in and try to plant twice and have things on a different cycle. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. But at least something different on the farm. A little bit of uniqueness. We're doing something to expand. So we will see where this takes us, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, back in here, early May, and good news is, last 15 minutes or so, I've been in touch with the realtor that I reached out to, and the orange land has expanded. So I've got this just for anyone interested in how everything works. So with the land token, basically, I didn't know if I needed the money in-game or out. So once he connected, he started the transaction, but then I got a message that there wasn't enough money in the checking account. So I happened to notice it in Discord quickly and was able to connect with him. And as I've shown earlier, you can just move money out and in with website stuff, which is awesome. Again, compared to FSN, it's like living in the Stone Age compared to living now. So it's really good. So I was able to make the transfer in, you know, less than a minute by the time I made it, and then the server recognized it and so forth. And it probably was simply because I didn't refresh my screen fast enough. If I had refreshed, it probably was in essence instant, because I'd moved anything that I didn't need back over, which was like $1,800. But in any event, I now own the parcel. I have taken out some more loans because for now I'm going to try to get this going while I do an iRacing thing on the back end, and that will obviously require a helper to do my planting for me, and it's going to take some money. But I had $8,187 is what I actually had, but keep in mind I already had a $10,000 loan, so I obviously dipped into my loan funds anyway. But all is well in the world, I think, until I run out of more money. So, to save funds, I will try to do the planting myself later, but I just wanted to get going because I don't know how long this is going to take, and I've got other real-life obligations I need to attend to in a bit, and so I want to get going and not be stuck later because I can't get things completed. Alright, so again, I'm pretty sure I got stuff over here in the tanker. I'm still going to try to do that because if I can use this for water, I'd love to do that. You know, now that I know this other tank is 50,000 liters, I'll obviously be more careful. You can see Meister planted trees. So, there's trees growing over there for him to harvest later. So all is good. I'm going to get myself opened up. But excited and a little, I don't know. I don't know why I'd be nervous, whatever. I mean, I know how farm sim economy works, and obviously as long as I do all the work and harvest and whatever, like, I'll certainly make more than 50,000 or whatever it is that I have in loans right now. Now, I'm probably going to need more than that because I think it took like 50,000 just for the harvest on the two fields. But, you know, I shouldn't exceed the 450,000 or whatever. Let's see. I'm going to try this. Oh, no field found. Interesting. If I'm on here, will it? Oh. How far do I have to be on? Alright. So, I don't know if it's going to catch the one. Nope. So I'm going to have to come back and grab that. Oh, but goodness. Well, I'm going to have to grab a few, but it seemed to get confused. I never like that, but... So yeah, I mean, the only potential nice thing with 34 is obviously it's big, open, it's right there. It's tempting, but that's just the nature of farming simulator or farming. It's like, hey, if I can expand. But, again, I've shared just the challenges of having enough time to do it, and that I don't, you know, and when I was talking about this when I joined FOC last year, and hey, this will likely be a relatively small operation compared to what people have. You know, I suppose if I wanted to run everything with helpers, which probably would still be profitable, but, you know, I could do it, and then it might work. So yeah, I'm going to have to come back and do that little bit, which kind of sucks. Because, you know what, I am going to, right now, and why is it backing up? I don't like that. So I'm going to actually run this right now, because I'm going to forget or something. You know how that goes. But the thing that sucks is, you know, it's not going to take a lot of seeds, but the darn fertilizer is the same, because it's not see and spray and stuff like that. We don't have that precision farming in FOC, as I've talked about. So I'm going to use way more liquid Fert than I need to. And good news is I have no doubt I have enough for the 3 fields for that. But yeah. So, you know, it gets kind of easy to do things. I've certainly been mulling over my conversation with Lamerick a little bit, and I don't want to say that my days with Farming Simulator are numbered, but I'd be dishonest if I was saying I don't know that that's not a bit of where I'm starting to feel things, because there's just, you know, as we had the conversation, you know, elaborating a little bit more on that from yesterday, you know, it really was kind of, there's not anything in Farming Simulator that typically, like, draws you to say, you know, I must. I'm trying to not be wasteful, but again, that's what I did when I lined up the first time, and then that's why I mean, I suppose I can, well, no, we'll just get it on. I'm like, I suppose I could do the GPS and make sure I don't have a problem, but, alright. So, we are good. It should be good. It should go down the field. I mean, obviously I'll watch it and make sure. I just don't know why it was backing up on the far end, but, so anyway, things like Flight Simulator, like, there's always, hey, I'm doing another tour leg. Hey, I've got another leg in my virtual airline I need to do. You know, I need to fly once a month, and I have that requirement. And you could argue that, like, that last item is very similar to, hey, I've got a field to go do whatever. But the difference with, you know, Flight Simulator is, yes, I'm flying the same plane, I'm doing whatever, but the weather's different, and you know, the destination's likely different. You know, I'm not normally just flying the same leg over and over, where really, to make it apples to apples with Farming Simulator, that's in essence what I'd need to be doing. I'd need to be, you know, flying O'Hare to Cleveland Hopkins, and that's all I ever did in Flight Simulator, to make it the same as what I'm in essence doing here, where I'm working these same fields with the same crop and so forth. Alright, so let me see, because I don't normally watch how it does it, and it might simply be that it's just trying to stay within my field boundaries, and that's how the AI system works. I will say I did see a video by Farmer Cop recently on the new AI system in Farming Simulator 2025, and it appears to be very Courseplay-like. And that was something new that I had not come across before. That is a big deal, because that's one of the big things that was hard to wait for. And then, Courseplay was one of those that even when it appeared, it still took a lot of updates and things to work out and tweak out the bugs. And so if the AI system is as intelligent and works as well as the whatever it was, 4-minute video or something that they were showing, and I'm sure they were just showing footage that was at FarmCon, but basically the AI used to not work really well on, for example, in this field, like I have to line it up, I have to have it go, and then sometimes it just stops, and so it doesn't do well with irregular shaped fields, things like that. That was one of the reasons I wanted the rectangular fields of 37 and 38 over there, because I knew the AI would have less problems with it, so that if I did have time crunches, I could rely on the AI to accurately work everything. But they were showing, definitely in a regular shaped field, and then they showed the path that the AI had calculated and used, and it runs headlands and then goes ahead and works the field and so forth. Like, that's not what the AI does now. So it is very similar to Courseplay in that regard. I was panicking a bit, but that's that part of the field that is glitched for whatever reason. Looks like me or someone else ran through the field there. I think it was me. Probably picking up bales or something. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's the normal thing. Alright, I probably want to go ahead and get my weeder going. I was debating if I was going to do that now, but you never know how long a race takes in iRacing, because it just honestly depends on how clean the competitors are and so forth. But best case scenario, I'll be done in 40 minutes, and I don't think that this field will be done. I think it will be done planting by then, but I think the weeder will take longer than that. I'm not sure. And if not, it'll, it's one of those, it'll be what it'll be, right? So, again, so this is the issue. Like, with AI here, I've got to line this up, and then it may still glitch out on me as far as what it will do with the field. So, we're going to let this go ahead. But, and even other things I'm doing. Like I started Airport CEO recently, Project High Rise. Some of the other things. The truck simulators are similar to Flight Simulator. Like I got a different product I'm delivering somewhere else. Even if I'm driving the same roads, the traffic is different. There's different things that can happen. So there's still variety there, but Truck Simulator is probably the closest to Farming Simulator, and that there's only so many things I can do. I can hire drivers, I can have a truck, and I'm basically driving a truck. There's not other pieces to it, and that's been something that I've talked about. Like, it would be nice if you could do LTL, less than truckload, and figure out how to fill up your truck, and you've got like loading things you're working out and so forth. And that's where something like Airport CEO is a little bit more interesting to me, because I like given that my life is in business, I like business sims because I love solving those kind of problems. How do I eke out a little more profit? How do I do whatever? And so more opportunities to have a challenge of how to do that is great, which is why the building simulator or the airport simulator have kind of caught my attention, and even why Farm Manager World is something that I'm dabbling in at this point, because it's just more that business side of the equation rather than the physical farming. I get the physical farming fix handled here. I get to, run equipment, enjoy the view over the fields. I mean, again, there's certainly something here. Just relaxing when nothing else is going on, watching the screen, changing the views. If you go way back on the channel to my FSN days, I've certainly got videos. I mean, again, just watching that silo rise over the new trees. It gives you that real world type feeling, like, hey, I can get some really cool views of where I'm at, with just within the game. So, those aspects I enjoy. But, the point Lemeric brought up is, he's not feeling like there's a compelling reason for him to spend money to get Farming Simulator 25. And so he's not sure where he's going to land. I mean, right now he's pretty firmly in, oh yeah, I'll continue because I still like it. But he did admit after we talked for a bit that, because I asked him, like, why did he leave so early rather than waiting to Prestige until closer to the release or at the release and then continuing to farm now. And that's where he said, I've got 95 million, that's what I ended up with. So that would be him selling land and all the equipment and whatever. So it's not that he had a bank balance of 95 million, but that's what he has now. And that's a lot. I mean, you're going to be able to start pretty much whatever operation you want with that type of funds. And I don't know enough about the Prestige system to know, because I think they start again with 0. I think they just get credit for having the 95, the 95 million. Oh, it looks like it left a plant there. That's weird. Yeah, because we're not plowing it under. I don't understand. But, so it's almost like the planter didn't get that little piece of the field when it was doing the AI stuff. So, and that's when he came around and kind of admitted there's just too many other things pulling at his time, and he kind of felt like if he didn't farm here for 6 months or whatever, it's going to be, I guess it's less than that because it's coming out in November, so 4 months, that would be perfectly fine. So, and obviously what I'm talking about is a little bit different. And, it's not like suddenly a year later I couldn't decide, all right, I'm going to buy Farming Simulator 25 now. I've seen enough about it. It's interesting enough and whatever. But what I'm actually talking about is I am having a hard time finding time against all the other interests in the sim world that are pulling it at the limited time I have. If time was infinite, I mean, it's a little bit of a morbid way to think about it, but if time was infinite, I'd never die, and I knew I had, all the time I ever wanted. Maybe I'd make different decisions, but obviously that's not the case, and concerns going on around jobs and in the real world and so forth, and how things are going to pan out, because I'm worried about leadership change in my team and what that would turn into, and suddenly how my job would change or perhaps even go away. It's pretty depressing, honestly, to think through that, just the situations that may be coming based on some challenges that are happening with my leader. So, all of that saps the enthusiasm a little bit. And so I think, I'm trying to keep all that perspective in my head of definitely some of my negativity toward time in Farming Simulator has been driven by that, because it's like this period of I have more opportunity to turn to the computer here during the day all week long and do something and still balance everything else in my real life and get done what I need around my work, maybe vastly shifting. And that's not something that I'm excited about. I don't know that anyone would be. So, again, without getting deeply philosophical about work-life balance, this, that, and whatever, and time, stage in your career, like I could go on for probably hours and hours and hours about exploring all the nooks and crannies of that. You guys know me if you've watched the channel at all. I certainly am really good at going down rabbit holes. So, but there's that. So what I don't want to do, and again, I wouldn't realistically, just throw in the towel and be like, screw it, I'm done, and just stop and never look at it again. I'm not impulsive that way and so forth. Worst case, it might be, I agree to do that, and I do what Limerick does and just say, all right, I'm liquidating the farm, and I'm not going to do anything in Farming Simulator for a year and then come back to it or something. I don't know. Because obviously I was doing Farming Simulator when the world was more, what would be called historically normal, pre-COVID. When I had to drive in, work in an office, spend 10 to 12 hours of my day away from anything where I could be simming or whatever. Where now I have the blessing of having pockets of time here or there, so that allows me to, jump in a plane and take it off, put it on autopilot, let it sit, throw something here at the farm field, let it sit, and, go from there. But anyway, enough of that. If you've watched this segment, thank you. Thanks for listening to how I'm feeling about it. And hey, always willing to chat with people about that. So you got comments that this has spurred? Like, you lousy bastard, you've got it made. You're able to sim during, days when we all have to quote-unquote work 100% of the time, and you've got this, and you're, grumbling about your life, first world problems. I totally agree. I'm very blessed with how things are going. Oh my God, really? All right, well, let me stop this, and then let me stop this. All right, and then let me get out of here. I did not know they were doing that, so let me leave. And I will pick it up later, I guess. I was hoping it would run during my race, but it's not. Oh, and I think I just missed my race. Great. Anyway, talk to you later. Alright, back on the farm here in July. The world's an interesting place right now. This is the morning of the big CrowdStrike IT outage globally. I have no idea if... I'm thinking it's unlikely, but the server this morning was trying to get in for a while. I had every intention of doing some stuff yesterday, but real life intervened, not related to the problem I just stated, but and did not, and so was going to get in and spent 30 minutes waiting for the server to come up, and eventually issued a server restart, which is, again, something in FOC that we can do that we were not able to do in FSN, which is awesome, because then you're not like waiting for somebody to take care of it. It seems to have worked, so you know, again, remains to be seen what things turn into. Let's see. I'm worried. I'm actually not bad. I'm worried I'm not lined up with the field, is what I was gonna say. But I know I need to kind of get in and get going here, and that's why it was like, alright, let me do what I need. So you can see where the dollar amounts are. 17,000. Did not take out any more loans, but that is where we sit, and again, we won't be able to get the harvest done with that. But the important thing is I was able to get all 3 fields planted, but the interesting thing is I had a weird problem with the helper working with the weeder on the new field. So I'm not sure what was going on there. I'm hoping it was just a fluke. It was another one of those. I eventually just exited the server, came back in, and then it was working. So at one point, I thought I had stopped everything, but I guess I had not, or something, and they were coming in to update the server. I think it may have been at the end of my last part of the episode here. I may have just had to abruptly stop because, oh, they're coming in and they're going to reboot the server. And when I came back in, it was like the helper was still running, or had run or something, which was odd. And then so I don't know if it somehow got a little confused with that going on, that it really shouldn't have been running when it restarted, but then it was. So in any event, few weird farming simulator tech issues in the last 2-3 days. So hoping things mellow out. So I'm not sure if I had shared, I think I had, about the new AI/GPS. You know, I think they're calling it GPS, but it really is the helper system taking over, and how they've redone it, and some of the images and things that we've seen from Giants have shown that it's courseplay-like, and that it'll do headlands and things like that, and so you know, there is a little bit of hope there for me that at least if we've got to go to 25, and if I make that journey, that they may have actually added some actual capability that could be different, and I certainly feel a lot more like, yeah, that could be helpful to me given the mess that happened with that field, because I spent a good amount of time just fumbling around like, what do I do? I really didn't have time to manually run the field, and so it kind of was a last bit of desperation to log out and just cross my fingers, and it would be much better if AI could be relied on a little bit more, because I did have some of the normal stuff here where in all the fields, it stops like a tiny bit short, and the only reason I can tell it's doing that is when the weeder runs, it basically takes off that grass layer at the edge of the field too. So I can see that where it stopped, like in front, it still hasn't done it, but on field 36, the one that I've had for a while, where kind of all my infrastructure is built around it, the upper corner toward where I have my silos, the planter didn't get up there for, I don't know, 10 yards, you know, whatever it is. Like, let's say, I'll kind of tell you, if I look from the edge of the field to where the fertilizer is, I'd say probably this far from what I fertilized. It didn't plant the last row, but it had done everything else, and so the closest I can tell is there's a tree relatively near the field, And so I'm thinking what's happening is the helper is seeing it as an obstacle. It stops, it backs up, and then it, but it wasn't stopped there when I got back in. It had, in essence, turned around and gone to the other end. And so it's like maybe that's where it's set up. Like basically the tree just makes it unable to access that corner. And so it's those type of things. Like if what they've done with the AI has really helped that and made it get really intelligent, that will be helpful. Again, we can speculate and debate, like, they could have done that, I'm sure, in the existing game. It's not that they required a new one, but yes, it's a welcome addition if they're putting us through something new, that there's at least something there that affects gameplay that might actually be gameplay affecting. So that's the only thing I've seen so far, but it is not a minimal thing, so I will admit that. So I am going to continue here and fertilize these fields and keep moving along so that we can hopefully have a pretty good result this year. It'll be interesting to see, do I have, what does my processing time look like for the cotton as far as the spinnery and getting fabric out, where right now I've had plenty of months where the spinnery I think finishes in December or January or so, and then we can't sell till April. So I've certainly got a buffer. So we'll have to see what that all looks into. Now I know the situation will be, because the cotton I got off the field does max out the spinnery, so it will add an extra step, if you want to call it, where I'm going to have to stack up the cotton and come back and load the spinnery later after it's processed some of the original cotton. But that's fine. I mean, that would be a expectation for any kind of processing facility, that if I'm maxed out and that helps me keep it running all the time, I'm not going to complain. And even if I have to keep the thing running 12 months out of the year, I would say that's not necessarily a failure. That's actually, better utilizing what I have instead of just, always having it ready for sale. Obviously, that will skew a little bit of, when we can sell things, but if basically I have to keep running the spinnery from April to the following September, October, when I'm doing my harvest, and then it just kind of finishes in time, as long as I'm not creating a backlog that then would perpetually get longer and longer, I don't really need another spinnery. So that would be kind of how I'm looking at it at this point. But I will keep working on this, and I will see you in a bit. Well, welcome back. It's October. Trying to get around the trees here. Should be able to get through. There we go. So need to go fuel up and repair, and then we will get it moving on probably this field, because I think the other one is up by the other field. I don't remember where I left it, honestly. So let's see. Oh, there's a tree down. Let me see. Maybe it's too far on my property, so let me shove it over on his property. And maybe he can do something with it then. Or maybe it's just gonna be like, it's yours or whatever. Don't know. But we'll see. Like, that's clearly on his. And now he can work with it. I don't need it. I mean, I'm not going to be one that, like, oh, it's my tree, I want my $2,000 or whatever you would get from it. But, trying to remember where the thing is. But yeah, I'm a little bit late. I've just been very much going down the path of the trains thing and working on PGA golf course type things. So definitely been intriguing to try to look at that. Is it really? I don't understand how you have to be so close to the fuel pump for this to work. It's crazy. Like the, the repair works a little further away, but the rest of it not so much. So let's see. Probably gonna maybe have to get some fuel, maybe not. I don't know. It's about half. Oh yeah, it's almost full, so maybe I'll be okay. But the plan is going to be, I don't know if I can get this done tonight. I think I'm going to go do, well, I can start up here. I think I'm going to do the across piece I was doing, because I think that did work better. So, I'm going to try it, and we'll see how that all works out. So, we'll go there. I'm going to have to, again, take more loans. Alright, I'm going to see if... that's enough. If it's not, obviously I can easily enough go back. Alright, good news is this one's pretty complete here. So... are repaired already, so at least I won't have that new feature that way. And let's see what we can do here. So it should take off and go. Alright. Like why it's not 100%, like why it was 99% fertilized, but maybe because I was somewhere else. But yeah, the plan would be let these two go and then come and do 37 together and basic. So start on opposite ends and go from there. But we'll see how that works. But yeah, I've been kind of spending some time just trying to get familiar. There's just a lot to learn for both of those things to see if I can even make any progress. But we'll see what happens there. But, hopefully it'll make for interesting times, because I've got some things I can try to put together, I think, and might be kind of fun. But in any event, now it's just the goal of starting to accumulate some money. Obviously, the first goal is going to be paying off the loan, which I'll be able to do in April. I'm just going to incur a bit of interest. It's $166 a day right now. Let's take a quick look at where we sit. All right, we're good with the water, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. So that gets you up to speed of where things are at, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, I'm back here in December, moving a bit more of the cotton, so we've got everything picked up off all three fields, other than this one here. But again, the plan was to do what I'm doing. So just grab it. I was going to grab the other two bales that were still here. Whoop. Guess we got to be a little bit higher. There we go. We'll get this over. So we still have 100,000 liters in the spinnery. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to put all this in, because as you can see, we've got 8, so we've got 160,000, 180,000 liters with what I've got on my forks here. That may be more. You can see we got 40,000 liters of fabric out there. So when we finally can sell, that's going to be about $90,000, which is always great. Oh, that's too far. I don't know what I was thinking there. But we'll see how far we can get, but I figured I'd bring you along here. So 6 of these bales are from field 37, just so you have an idea. But again, I think we have nearly 2 full. I know we have one very, very full harvester. I think it was like 19,500. The other one might be a little bit lower, but so there's really like another bale kind of that came off the field. It's just in the equipment, which is all fine and dandy. I mean, there's no massive rush to get things done right away. But I'm trying to remember, because I know I maxed this out once, and this is kind of what I talked about, is like, you know, for field sizing, certainly my first check is going to be, all right, what can I process with one spinnery? And obviously once I have enough money for the tailor shop, you know, that becomes the next thing, is like, all right, how much fabric can go through, because they do run it at different paces and all of that. But one step at a time. Obviously all the steps are years apart in farming. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, and I think they've modeled it quite well here in FOC by the changes they've made. So, you know, you can't suddenly have a good year, and, you know, where in the base game, yeah, I think a tailor shop I could have gotten for like $400,000-$500,000. So a year or two of cotton, that would have been enough. But we've obviously been doing way more than that, and all we still have is a spinnery. So I am intrigued. You know, there's a little bit of me that's like, well, just for completeness, maybe I get 38 and 34 and just have this whole little corner to myself. But I think that's just going to be a lot of work. 38 will definitely be next, because it's going to be simpler than working 34. I mean, it's further away from the standpoint of where we can process and all, but it's the largest piece, and it would make the most sense. So we've got to get to 1.7 million, but we do have I think $150, almost $200,000 in loans now sitting around. So yeah, 155. But I'm looking, let's see, 516. This again is the greenhouses. So we're doing okay on the interest, at least. Like, we can cover the interest payment and all the other stuff with what's coming off of the greenhouses, which is good, because that's the whole point of the greenhouses, is that I can basically keep the farm afloat with them if I need to. You know, the challenge ends up being like, this is the first month that we've had that I haven't gone ahead and had other expenses or whatever, where I've had to repair, or, oh boy, I just cannot get the forks at the right level. I am surprised, honestly, that it's gone as far as it has. I really would have expected it to burp on me already, but I'm gonna be amazed if I get both of these bales in. Not gonna lie, because that would be 280,000 liters. I just don't know that that's gonna work. Now, if somehow that one doesn't pop in, which I wouldn't be surprised that it wouldn't. Yeah, I think we've maxed it out. It should have vanished by now. I'm going to put this one on top, and we're going to see if we can just have them pull over time, and they'll both eventually go. I don't know. Suppose I... There we go. Leave that, and we'll see how that all plays out. Get myself up here a bit, a little flatter. Alright, so let's see. 240. So yeah, that one's 10,000. The other one's 20. So we have 30,000 liters left. 240,000 liters of capacity. And we were at like 220 before. So again, adding another 120, that puts us at like 340 a year that we're doing. But we certainly were always done in April. And so what I had been talking about, just so we're clear, is, you know, if I have to run the spinnery 12 months a year, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to then have more cotton than that. So, you know, at some point I'm going to have to play with it a little bit, see where things land. But I'm thinking that we're still going to process all this cotton before we're ready to sell in April. We've still got half of December left. But we'll see how things play out over time and as we get closer. But at this point, well, let me check. Like at this point, I was going to say all I've got is to sell, but now I do need to look at lime again, because we have to be getting close. Okay, so those two fields need lime. So I am going to go ahead and do that, because there's really, other than I'd rather not, there's really no reason not to. And again, it should go well, it's kind of relatively quickly. The problem ends up being that it uses so much lime that it's just a lot. So I need to go dump this back in the silo, but I will go ahead and get those fields limed. And the next time you will see me still is for sale time, unless something unexpected takes place. I do not know what that would be. So let's assume it will be nothing, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, back here, and we've got ourselves a pallet. So let's load it up, and let's finish our sale for today. Almost forgot to do it. I got stuck longer, surprise, surprise, in the thing I was trying to do, and honestly, I think I'm going to need to redo it. Just had some challenges in Farm Manager World, which is what I was trying to get a little bit more progress on, and yeah, I ended up like losing a ton of money because of a game dynamic that honestly I thought was a little bit stacked. So I think I'm going to go back to the save I started with, and now that I've learned some things to get through and make progress, I'm going to do things a little differently, and that should save me some cash. But let's hop in the truck. Oops, down here. Like, I'm not seeing it, but that's because the field is there. Alright. So campsite was the best before. It kind of still really is, because the lowest is the one right here. So, and the campsite's not that far, so I'm going to go ahead and get myself there. So I'm trying to remember. I think I was saying I was going to lime the fields, so yeah, I got that done. Yeah, it took a good bit. I had to go get some more. I was hoping I could fill the lime out of the trailers. I cannot. So I had to put it into the silo and go from there. So all in all, things just didn't work out. But my hope is, at a minimum, we can pay off our loans, and then we'll be at least back to normal, I guess we'll call it. Well, I can pick grass up and do something with it if I buy 38 eventually, but again, I need let's say 1.8 million just to be safe. But let's see where we end up here. Alright, well, we definitely have enough for our loan. That's good. I would imagine we're going to end up at maybe half a mil. Maybe not that much. 411,181. So, not too bad, but keep in mind, we also still have 95,000 liters of cotton in there. So the other thing I do need to kind of take a peek at or see, I'm going to have to try to keep an eye on, like, how long is it going to take for that to run? And we don't actually, now that I think about it, have 95,000, because that was where we were at before I left, when we were still trying to make another 800 liters of fabric or whatever. So we probably have a little less, but my guess is we still have over 90,000 liters, because I think it's kind of, you know, basically half of what I produce is what I'll get out. So I'm guessing, you know, maybe we get another couple pallets out, and the question becomes, you know, given that in essence I did 5 to 6 pallets, since I put things in December, I think it was. You know, that means a couple pallets. It'll probably take me a day or two to get those 2 pallets done, which is honestly kind of crazy when you get down to it. But, alright, hopefully it won't flop into the ground this time. But let's just quickly take a look before I end the year here. Yeah, 93,000, and we've got about 1,000 liters of fabric done from that as well. So, but what I need to see is now, I don't want to, basically October is my date, and so the question is, like, if I suddenly add field 38, is that going to be too much crop, and then I won't be able to process it in the spinnery before the end of the year, and then I'm basically going to have a backup, because that's the issue. Like, it's running 100%, but while I'm thinking of this, let me go in here, and then we're going to repay our loan. So we're going to get that down to whatever it is, 180. So there we go. So 233, 625 after the loan from 411. So obviously we had 180,000 or so that we needed to pay off. But the good news is now we're a debt-free farm again, and you know, we needed a little extra to basically get the harvest in and get the field planted and all that. You know, because we had to keep taking out money to repair equipment, all of that. But I would think that the 233 is now going to be enough to get through another year. And then, if that's the case, we should easily then be able to keep moving forward. So that will be the plan. But we got this year done, and the biggest news, obviously, was getting field 37 at the start of the season last May, adding that on, and now we have gotten our first crop off of that and our first sale. So pretty nice. If you've enjoyed this, haven't dropped a like yet, and if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider those things. Those are all greatly appreciated. Comments are also wonderful. Enjoy engaging with folks. Don't forget there's a Discord. We've got still less than 100 people on the Discord and very, very little chat going on. We had a couple people that were engaged in the golf chat. Really, there's one person now who's talking once in a while, but a lot of times we're just commenting on videos again. But I do think the Discord offers a unique ability to communicate on things because they're not buried in comments in different videos that people may not be able to pull together, including myself, where I may miss a comment or something. So I don't want people feeling like I'm ignoring them. Sometimes YouTube just frankly doesn't notify me. So in any event, think of those things, and I will see you next time.